What is going on, fishing buddies? I'm solo. Yeah, John and Lindy have no internet, so I'll get into that in a minute. But let me say hey to everybody that's here right now. What's going on, Chris? What's going on, Gio? How you guys doing? I'm exhausted. Not gonna lie. It's been a long week, but a fun week. I hope everybody had a good week. Yeah, John and Lindy, they got no internet right now. What's up, Yee Yee? Yeah, John and Lindy have no internet. They had a Comcast thing. They got all new Comcast equipment. John's trying to install it, and I don't know if you guys know anything about Comcast or anything like that, but yeah, anytime you try and do that by yourself, it's probably not going to go well. So if John gets everything back up and rolling here before we end tonight, they'll jump up. If not, it'll be me. And I'll post the link here in a little bit if anybody wants to jump up, see how many people we get in tonight. I know I haven't been live in a little while. Ace Fiber. I'm not familiar with that one. Yee. We got AT&T, and I've been very happy with them. We've had them for a while, and I don't know, Comcast. I can't do Comcast. They're like, they're huge down here, and I mean, I know like once you get them up and running and stuff, some of their stuff is pretty cool, but like their customer service is garbage, just absolute garbage. And like we had Comcast very early when my wife and I got together when we got our first place, and I think we had it for a year, and after that, nope. What's up, Shane? How you doing, buddy? What up, Billy? Yeah, Billy and I put in for our gator tags for phase one down here in South Florida. They when you want to hunt alligator, they always open it up, and it's a draw. It's basically it's a lottery, and yeah, Billy and I put in for a whole bunch of different places, but that doesn't really increase your chances of getting them. Unfortunately, Billy and I did not get pulled, and I just looked at phase two, which opened up today. And phase two is like basically from like Orlando north. There's nothing down this way. I don't know if you looked at it, Billy, or not. And I mean, I'm not going to even put in for phase two. I'm not going to drive 2.5 hours to go hunt an alligator. So yeah, bummer. I didn't get one. So no gator hunting video this season. So yeah, kind of sucks. But you know what? Since like I said, I don't know if John and Lindy will be up at all. Yeah, it is, Billy. I don't know if you looked at it today, but there's the link right there, guys. If anybody wants to jump up, I'll get you on panel and we'll talk whatever, man. We'll talk whatever. I'm open for anything. It's like I said, it's been a minute since I did a live on the channel. Hey Hank, how are you doing? Oh, you heading to bed? I do want to say, Hank, thank you. I did have a chance. To open the jigs. I got them open. I went fishing with them, and these are amazing. Thank you so much. Hank made these for me to go fish some peacock bass and other things. But I opened them, did a video. Just got to edit it, so that'll be out very soon. Probably Monday. I'll have that video done. So thank you again, Hank. Those phenomenal. They're great. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, Billy. Maybe on phase 3 reissue, or maybe if we get anything on leftovers, I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep looking, but I'm definitely not putting in for phase 2. Definitely not going to put in for phase 2. They're just everything is way too far north. Way too far north. Yeah, Hank, I really do, man. I really do. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, but I posted the link if anybody wants to jump up. It's there in the chat. I'm flying solo tonight, rocking my Florida Panthers gear. What's up, Owl's Nest? Happy Friday. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Yeah, I tried to watch the entire game last night, and since it almost ended at 2 o'clock in the morning, I didn't make it to the end. I made it to the third overtime of the Panthers hockey game last night, and I fell asleep. My wife came in near the end of it, and she's like, "They're still in the third overtime," and she came to bed. It ended up going to a fourth overtime, and with 15 seconds to go in the fourth overtime, the Panthers scored and finally won 3-2. So I was happy about that. So I'm rocking my Panthers gear. They play tomorrow night. All right, Hank. Good night. Get some rest. What'd you say, Billy? They are all going all the way. I hope so, man. I really hope they do. And they've been playing lights out. That's right, Hank. Go Panthers. Yeah, and the Florida Panthers did a great thing on their Twitter. Really cool. Hold on, let me pull it. Posted this. This was funny. This was like on their official. Um, I know you guys can't read that. I'll read it to you. But this was like an absentee note. It says, "Please excuse blank's tardiness to blank on May 19th, 2023. As you're probably aware, our game one in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Carolina Hurricanes went into 4 overtime periods, and they had to stay up late to support the Cats. Blank support is essential to the team, and we appreciate your understanding. Go Cats." That was something that the Florida Panthers put on their Twitter feed today. Luckily, I didn't have to be into work this morning early. What up, Joe? That's right. Go Cats. But yeah, luckily I didn't have to go into work right on time this morning. My little one, Avery, which I'm sure you guys know, and I'm sure she'll make an appearance at some point tonight. Avery had her VPK, which is voluntary pre-kindergarten graduation ceremony today, and it was just the cutest damn thing. So she had that at like 8:15. So I did get to sleep in a little bit. Didn't have to go into work right away. Went to her VPK graduation ceremony, and they did all these little songs, and they did just like she was in a little capping gown with a tassel. It was cute as hell. Proud of her. She did great this year, and now she's moving on to kindergarten. And got my oldest one's 5th grade graduation Monday night, and she's going to be moving on to middle school. So, yeah. And we just had my school's graduation last night or yesterday afternoon. So that was fun. Got to go down to the South Florida Fairgrounds. That's where we have it here in Palm Beach County, and see my seniors graduate. That was a good time, and it's been nothing but graduations, but I got 1 week left, y'all. 1 week left. Next week, exam week, and then I am off for 2 months. So a lot of fishing is going to be done. A lot of fishing. It is, Shane. It is. And again, guys, like I said, I'm flying solo, so if anybody wants to pop up, there's the link. If you want to click the link and jump up, I'll let you in, and we'll BS about fishing or whatever. Doesn't matter. Joe, I'm hoping you can make it on Sunday, man. I'm not heading down there tomorrow. I got some other stuff I got to do tomorrow, so I can't head down to Sunrise. My daughter's oldest one's got a dance competition down in Sunrise, which is near Joe, tomorrow and Sunday. So I think everybody needs a summer break. I think we need to work that into like the workforce, like a summer break, or at least like breaks here and there, at least to where every job gets 2 months off. How can we work that out? I'll run for president if you guys figure it out. Should I run for president? No, I'm not running for president. I'm too smart for that. Yeah, it will, Ted. But yeah, my daughter has a dance competition down by Joe, or close to Joe, Saturday and Sunday. Oh, that's cool, Yee. Summer's a busy season for you, Gio. Yeah, summer. Like I said, I mean, You guys know I'm a teacher. Yeah, Joe, it's off sunrise, not in sunrise. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yep, right near there. I don't know how close that is to you. Probably closer than driving all the way up by me. I guarantee you that. What'd Billy say? As soon as I get this captain's license, hell yeah, Billy, it's coming. Owl's Nest is getting into the. Oh, I put up the wrong thing. Jesus, I'm losing it. I'm losing it here. Getting into the tackle craft game. Very cool. I figured it was close enough to you, Joe. Now, I fished it before. I made a video a year ago, actually. Same place where she was at a competition. Now, we got lucky this year. The only reason I ended up making that video is because we had to go down there for 3 days. We were down there Friday, we were down there Saturday and Sunday. And like the last day, I was like, well, I'm just going to try and go over to that spot and see if I can fish it. And I did, and caught a 3-pounder and almost a 5-pounder out of the little lake. So worth a shot going back again this year. Oh, he is? Awesome, Joe. Owl's Nest is making some soft plastics. Very cool. And I'm finally starting to be able to get back, and I'm slowly catching up with people's videos. I was like extremely behind. What's going on, brother Mark? I was extremely behind on everybody's videos. I'm like not going to say I'm extremely behind. I'm less behind now. Trying to catch up on everybody's stuff. It's just been, I feel like the last month has been nuts for me, and just everything I've had going on. I haven't been able to sit down and watch people's videos, comment. I've barely had time to get out and fish. Like you guys probably see, on the channel, I haven't posted a video in a very long time, but it's coming. It's coming. Oh, hold on. We got a hooligan down in the basement, and that hooligan is Mr. Shane Flint.
Hey, Doc, how are you?
Good, bud. How you doing?
Good. I had to jump in. I couldn't let you stand up here and do it all alone.
I mean, hey, I appreciate it, man. I could sit here and talk all night. I don't know if anybody would enjoy the hell out of it, but I mean, it's always fun to bounce stuff back and forth with somebody else. It makes it easier. What's going on, Matt?
So I got a question for you, Doc.
What's up?
You got 1 week left of work.
I do.
That first Monday that you have off, what is that like? What do you go through? Is it just like sleep in, don't do nothing? Do you have a plan, or you just kind of relax?
It depends on the girls, because I mean it's their first Monday off too. So, will we sleep in? Yeah, probably. Will we do nothing? Probably not.
Yeah.
it'll probably be, one of those things where it's just like, we kind of wake up whenever. I'll make them breakfast, or we'll make breakfast, and then we'll just kind of devise a plan for the day. And I mean, we'll probably end up just hanging out in the backyard by the pool. That's,
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know I definitely don't want to go nowhere. That's not happening. We're not going anywhere. What's up, Kyle? But yeah, I mean, it'll just be easy. Even hell, Shane, even that first week might just be just an easy week,
Yeah.
And then I did just buy some tickets for my wife and I to a concert on June 10th down in at the Hard Rock. The Hard Rock Live. Yeah, we're gonna go see a couple bands that her and I both like. So I just bought the tickets tonight. So
That's cool.
We'll go do that.
Yeah. So you're definitely going to take the 2 months and just relax.
Yeah. We'll relax. I do want to go up to Ocala. My brother just recently moved up to Ocala, and we have not been able to make it up there to see their house or my niece and my brother and his wife since they moved up.
Yeah.
So we're going to go up there this summer and hang out for a couple days. So that's definitely on the agenda. But other than the concert and going up to Ocala, that's it. Yeah, no. It's actually the Spice Girls, Kenny G, and Snoop with special guest DJ Martha Stewart is the concert that we bought. So and I'm hoping to get them. Yeah, I'm hoping to get the Martha Stewart Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition signed by her. I mean, I got the in. I know Snoop.
I scratch my head on that like 10 times over. It's like, is that the smartest way to sell a swimsuit magazine? I don't think so.
I don't think anybody in marketing right now has any idea what they're doing, and I think that's evident of the Bud Light whole situation.
Yeah.
I think a lot of colleges that are teaching marketing really need to kind of hit the reset button.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the people that they're turning out are not doing a good job.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I didn't know how bad that Bud Light thing was until. So I live next to Quantico Marine Base.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a retiree. So I go on base and shop at the commissary, get all my groceries cheap, and I go to what we call the classic liquor store. And they have in the Marine Base, they have a big pallet of Coors Light, a big pallet of Bud Light, a big pallet of Miller Light. Because Marines just grab that shit and go.
Right.
The pallet of the Bud Light hasn't been touched.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's...
All the others is like one or two, man. There's just a few left. It's like, if you want Bud Light, they need to put that shit on sale, like free sale.
Well, I saw something. It was a post, and it showed, it was like a whole section of Bud Light. And it said $20 rebate on like other items if you buy one case of Bud Light, and it was still full. Now, I mean, obviously that's a picture. Somebody could have taken that like when they posted it out. You never know, but still, I mean, that was just a classic case of just not knowing who your target audience is, and just absolutely alienating the people that drink that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Bud Light. I used to drink it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Until because you don't know any better. Yeah, and you just buy what's cheap and what's available. But yeah, I mean, I'm not buying a Bud Light if I want to drink beer. That's just even before all this thing with Dylan Mulvaney started.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've never been a Bud Light guy. Just not my style. Now, I will tell you, my mother grew up drinking. I watched my mom drink Natural Light, which is a Budweiser product.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they're owned by Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
Correct.
I won't drink that shit either because that's the first thing I got my hands on. It's like goat piss to me.
Well, we used to drink that stuff when we were kids, and I say when we were kids because we were drinking that before you could actually drink legally.
Right.
And I mean, you could buy a 12-pack of that stuff for like, I don't know, Christ. I think I remember back then it was like $7, and it was like, I remember taking Natural Light cans when we were sitting at the beach at Juneau Pier and throwing them like footballs to each other in the ocean and like diving like, you're the football superstar. And if one got away, nobody cared. It was a Natural Light. Who cared? Yeah,
Yep.
it's but yeah, the whole marketing thing I see a lot of these companies doing is just, it's like they're not understanding who their core demographic is.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're paying the price. I've read twice now that they've lost over $7 billion in sales over that.
Yep. Oh yeah, the old Michelob brown bottle.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was when I was in my early 20s. It was Michelob, and then I went to the Michelob Light because I thought that was cool with the blue and silver label on it. Yeah, that was good beer.
Yeah, I mean, see, when I was younger, like Bud Light was like the popular beer, and then Natural Light came out, which was like, even cheaper than Bud Light. So, as a kid who's got no money, you did the Natty Light thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, you had Natty Light. When I was a kid, it was Old Milwaukee, the Beast.
Oh yeah, Old Milwaukee.
Yeah. Whew. I don't even think they make that anymore. Thank God.
No, they do. They do.
They?
Yeah, I mean, you can't like go to the convenience store and snatch it. But I remember when we were in California, we were like kind of walking through stores and stuff. This was like after we put all the kids in their room. What's up, Rob? And my co-teacher and I, we just kind of like went out, and actually we were looking for just a place to kind of like go and get some snacks. Like I was starving. I wanted a snack. We just ate dinner, but I was still hungry, and I wanted to grab just some waters for the fridge in the room. So her and I were walking down the street, and we see this one, like it almost looked like a convenience store, but we weren't sure if it was. So we went in, and it was actually like a beer and wine store. And I remember I was like, you guys just got some water? Like, can I just buy like a couple bottles of water off of you? I can't drink. I'm here with a bunch of students. I just want some damn bottled water, and I don't want to walk halfway down freaking Pine Avenue down here in Long Beach to the 7-Eleven, which is like 8 miles away to go get water. Like, luckily they had bottled water, but I did see because we started looking around the shop. It was a neat shop. It was like this, like it was almost like a retro feel type of like, vintage brewery with all these old beers, like Pabst Blue Ribbon, Old Milwaukee, like all this stuff. But then they had all these craft beers and all these different wines. I was like, I mean, if we were here, on vacation, this would be a cool spot to come and like try some stuff out. But it was just like, dude, I want 4 bottles of water. Like, oh, no, Chris, that's a good one. The Schmitz.
Oh, Schmitz.
And then you had Schlitz. Remember Schlitz?
Yeah. There's 2 things I remember. My mom said this all the time. Schlitz and Schmitz give you the shits. Don't drink it.
Yeah, Joe, I'm not a fan of craft beer. I'm not a fan. But like the little shop that we went into, they had like all the old school stuff. It was like a vintage beer shop. They did have craft beer in there, and I like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know when that started, or like, oh, this one is brewed with vanilla, and it's like, no, just give me a beer. Like I shouldn't taste milkweed and twine and twigs and berries in my beer. I'm sorry, I shouldn't.
Yeah, when I see a listing on the can that says you'll taste notes of cinnamon, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm,
the minute I see you'll taste or notes of anything on a beer, it's like, no, I'm out. I'm good.
I just want beer. I want it to taste like beer. Yeah.
Yeah, we were my wife and I and some friends of ours. We went out, and a buddy of mine, he was playing at this place locally over here, um, and we all kind of like decided, all right, we'll meet that night for dinner. Everybody had the kids watched, with grandmas and grandpas and everything like that, and we just all got together for dinner and drinks. And our friend Bryce was playing at this place, and it's like a craft brewery, right? And I go in there, and I was like looking around. I'm looking at all these, like there's like thousands of taps that are just on this wall, and I'm exaggerating a little bit. Probably wasn't thousands. It was probably like
Yeah.
20, 30, 40, whatever. I'm looking. I'm like, do you have anything that tastes like real beer? And the girl behind the bar looked at me. She's like, "This is all real beer." I was like, "It's not. It's not. I want a beer that what tastes the closest to like a normal beer I would buy from the convenience store. Give me that."
Yep.
And she comes over. She's like, "Oh, well, try this." And she gives me like a shot glass of beer, and I'm like, "Oh my god, am I literally taking tastes of beer to decide what beer I want?" I'm like, "I hate all of this." I'm like, I don't even like. No, I don't like this. I'm like, I just want a normal place.
Yeah, I don't mind like a restaurant that brews their own beer, but brew a beer, right? I don't want this. I went to a restaurant and the other day it was like everyone called Sweet Baby Jesus, Honey, whatever. No, I want just a beer. I appreciate you brewing your own beer and saving money and blah blah blah.
What's up,
Doing
Steve?
something unique. But do you have one that's just beer, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
be like, tell you what, you got anything that's close to a Schlitz, Pabst Blue Ribbon, a Miller Lite, a Molson, just get a Modelo, something, just beer.
Yeah.
Just give me
Yeah.
something normal.
Yeah. Every time I fly out to San Diego, you go to a restaurant bar and it's like a beer. When you go into the bar, there's like 50 taps
Yeah.
at the bar. And I'm like, yeah, just give me a rum and Coke.
Yeah, see, and
decipher.
I noticed the same thing when we were out in California, Shane. Like, not that I could order anything, but like some of the restaurants like we went into, we checked out this really cool Mexican restaurant when we were there. We took the kids in there. I mean, it was neat. It was like all like Day of the Dead, like that was like the whole like theme of it, and like the kids were like, "Oh, this place is really cool." I mean, obviously neon lights, everything's flashing, and I mean the food was great. But I noticed, like you were saying, they got like just a line of taps in the bar, and I'm like, "What the hell is all that?" Like, It,
By
but again,
the time you read through the menu of beers, you could eat your meal and be gone, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
What Steve say? Anybody
Yeah.
remember Lucky Beer? It had the puzzle on the cap. Only bought it for that beer was bad. I don't remember that
I don't
one.
remember that one, Steve. And Steve, I've lived all over the United States. I don't remember the puzzle beer,
So it's called Lucky Beer.
or Lucky Beer, or with the puzzle on it.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember Goldschlager.
Yeah, I remember Goldschlager. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't drink that anymore.
Yeah, that's there are certain things that you get past in age stages, like people used to drink beer, pound Bud Light or whatever, and hit Jaeger, right?
Jägermeister.
Jägermeister. No. And then you get to this point in your life where cinnamon, Jägermeister, or Hot Damn, or whatever. What's the other one that's real popular?
There was I remember it was Jägermeister. Like the popular ones were Jägermeister, and there was one called like Aftershock, and
Yep.
then I can't remember like the cinnamon one that was like the cousin to Aftershock. I can't remember the name of it. And those are like the
Fireball.
popular ones.
Was it Fireball?
No, it wasn't Fireball.
Man, I can't remember. Someone will put it in the comments, but Joe just said liquid cocaine.
Joe, I don't know if you remember, or if it happened to you, because Joe and I were both of us were in bands in this area around the same time. And Joe, I don't know, like when you guys were playing shows, but like when we were playing shows, dude, every single bartender, every single place we played, all they wanted to do was just feed you shots of Jägermeister, and I couldn't stand it. I like maybe one, maybe two, and there's like, oh, we got like 19 others waiting backstage for you. I'm like, can I just have water, please? Like, no. I don't know if that was like one of the worst places, Joe, was a place we played in Boca. I can't remember the name of it. There was a venue in Boca, or maybe it was Boynton. Maybe it was Boynton. Ovation. That's what it was. It was Ovation. Joe, did you ever play Ovation? Hold on. What Joe say? Jaeger sales went up when we played. I drank that stuff like a champ back in the day. No. There was a place in it was called like the Surf Cafe in Boca. I remember that one. Those girls behind that bar, they fed us Jägermeister, but the place I'm thinking of was Ovation. Yeah, okay. That was a great venue.
Yeah. I bet Joe was having a little twitch when he typed in Jaeger. Don't want to do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, that place that I'm talking about, Shane, and everybody that's in here, Ovation was it was a huge concert venue, and it was an old Joe, was it an old Winn-Dixie or an old Publix? I can't remember what it was, but it was in a shopping plaza, and they converted an old grocery store. It was either a Publix or a Winn-Dixie, and they converted it into this badass concert venue. And probably the coolest show that we ever did there was when we got to open up for Taproot. There was a band from Australia, and I can't remember their name, in Mudvayne.
Mm.
And we were the of course, we're the local act, and we were the very first one to go on, and then the band from Australia, then Taproot came on, then Mudvayne. That was awesome. And then like 3 months later, Ovation was gone. They closed it. But that was it was a great place, because not only did you have Ovation, and now this is long before my wife and I were ever together, but you had Ovation, and then in that same plaza, but in the parking lot in the middle, was a strip club. Ooh. So you got done playing your shows at Ovation. Where'd you go?
Right to the strip club. Yep. You got to find a place to spend that little bit of money you earned for being the local band.
Yeah,
right?
The $25 you made off the door. Oh, I hated that. That was one of the worst things about playing in bands when we got started. And you're small, just like a small YouTube channel. You don't have a following yet. You're trying to get out, and like all these bar owners and everything that you're sitting there like, oh, well, we'll give you a cut of the door, but it's really about, exposure, because we got exposure. Yeah. I'll never forget, Shane. We played the first band I was in when I came back, not the one that kind of did well. It was the first one I was in when I got back from college. Our guitar player, he booked a show down in Hollywood, Hollywood, Florida, not Hollywood.
Yeah.
Not the cesspool that's out west. So he books this show and he's like, yeah, he's like, dude, they're giving us 100% of the door. I'm like, okay. He's like, and they're telling me they got all these people that go. I'm like, cool, man, let's go. So it was a Saturday night. We drive all the way down to Hollywood and we get there and the stage is literally like this big. Like, I'm sitting there going, you got a freaking Marshall freaking quadruple stack. How are you fitting that on there along with our drums? And at that time I was playing bass. I wasn't a lead singer at that time. I was playing bass. I was like, I got a freaking stack. Like, we're not even fitting on the stage. And I start looking around and there's maybe like 10 people in this bar. And it's like 6:00 at night. And as I'm looking around the bar and we're trying to figure out how the hell we're going to make this work logistically, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking around the bar and I'm seeing people like looking at each other and they're all going, are they signing to themselves? And I go over to the bartender and I'm like, everybody in here is signing to themselves. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, oh, well, we get a lot of deaf clients. They just like the vibration of the music. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, nobody in this bar is going to hear anything we're playing. They're just going to, I can literally sit there and just thump on the E string on the bass guitar and these people will be happy as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to guess you had probably 50, 70 people come in total?
Well, before we decided to leave, there was about 20 people in there. And they're all and this was the funniest thing, they're all pumping music into the jukebox before we're supposed to go on. They're all just, and they're just sitting there and they're nodding their heads. I'm like, you don't know what's going on. You're just moving to the bass. Like, oh my God. So I called a guy I knew who up here in West Palm, the bar was called Spanky's and it was on Clematis Street and they always, live venue. And I said, dude, do you have a show going on tonight? And he goes, we had a little thing going on. He's like, the stage is wide open. I was like, all right, I've got 3 bands. Cause literally my guitar player booked us and 2 other bands to go down to this place. I was like, I got 3 bands. Could we come up and just do an impromptu show tonight? I'm like, just so we can play. I'm like, we can't fit on this stage and we're playing to deaf people. And he started laughing. He's like, you're not playing to deaf people. I'm like, dude, everybody in this bar cannot hear.
Wow.
So he let us come up and we salvaged the night. I mean, we had a good time. We went up to, because you had a lot of foot traffic on Clematis Street in West Palm at that time. Yeah. And if there was a live band playing, people would just funnel in. So, I mean, we just started playing and hell, we did 2 sets that night. But yeah, we literally drove all the way down to Hollywood, which is about an hour from me, about an hour and 20 minutes, and literally walked into a deaf bar to play to deaf people. All right, Alice Ness, good night.
Yeah, have a good one now. How's Ness?
What'd Kyle say? Oh, hell yeah. All night. Kyle, I could have sat there, literally, Shane, I could have sat there and just with the bass guitar and just had our drummer just hit the kick drum and our guitar player just straight up just an E chord the entire night and just us go don't. Oh yeah, don't. And those people would have been like, "This is awesome."
Yeah. Yeah, you were a hit no matter what. All you had to do was just like you said, do the basics, right? Yeah,
it wasn't even worth setting up. And that that was probably one of the funniest things that I went through when we were playing back in the day, was just playing at a deaf bar.
Yeah. So, hey, I'll change the subject just a little bit for you. You've got this time off coming. Have you got a plan for fishing?
Yes and no. I know Billy and I have been talking. Billy and I definitely want to do like a Lake Ida trip. And, obviously I want to include John and Lindia and Joe in that, if we can work something out to where all of us can possibly meet up at some point up there. I've got my father-in-law's boat on the side of the house. My mother-in-law finally, she's in the works of getting everything kind of like turned over. There's something weird with the title with it. So we're trying to get that straightened out, because I don't want to put that thing on the water without a title,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right, Joe. And that's what we're going to go after is some clown knife and stuff like that. But if my summer goal, Shane, is to, obviously number one, help my mother-in-law get the title and everything worked out on the boat. And
right.
then make, like, I know the boat will run. There's something wrong with the power pole. I think there's something wrong with the motherboard. I think there's some moisture that got in there. So I got to fix the power pole on that. And I know I can just like send something out to power pole. Their customer service is awesome. I mean, they'll send one, and get that all going. And I think my mother-in-law's ultimate goal is to sell the boat, but she wants me to, make sure it's running, take it out, fish out of it, like that sort of thing. So, that's a goal. And then obviously, if John and Lindy are down to fish, which I know they always are, I'll meet up with them at some point. But, and then like Joe and Billy are close to me. So, whenever they're free, I plan on doing some fishing with them. But I got to tell you, Shane, I think over the summer, I really want to concentrate on like peacock bass fishing and snakehead fishing, and like Joe said, the clown knife, because I've been noticing, even though I've been very lackadaisical with the channel these last month and a half, just because of everything I've had going on. I had spring break where we had the California trip, and then obviously my father-in-law passing away. And then just, trying to, deal with all the things that kind of happen after that happens. And then things with school, winding school down, graduations, all this, that, and the other. I really have not had time to go out and fish. I like literally, I'm not going to say forced myself to make time to go fish the stuff that Hank sent me. But like literally said, okay, like, look, Hank sent me this stuff almost a month ago. I've got to go fish it. I've got to open this up, because I did not want to open this package up.
Yeah.
He sent me this package. I didn't want to open it up. I wanted to be completely surprised when I opened it up, when I got it out on the water, and I just never got the chance to. And Hank was sending me messages like, have you had a chance? Have you had a chance? And I just, it was like a constant apology. Like, dude, I'm sorry, I have not. And I promise I will. So, but I noticed being off for this amount of time, not putting out any content on the channel, and just noticing the time of year where people I know are going to be coming down here. I had a video, Shane, literally, I want to say 2 months ago, was probably sitting at about 400 views. And it was just labeled Peacock Bass Fishing West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And I did happen to catch almost a 5-pound peacock in it. I caught my PB peacock. I put a buddy of mine that lives in Port St. Lucie, put him on his first peacock, and caught a snakehead in it. Just I was happy with the way the video came out, but it just kind of died right there, right around 400. In the month and a half that I haven't done anything, that video has gotten up over 1,000 views. Because people have been, and I've looked at the analytics, and it's coming from Google search and YouTube search. Now, none of those people are converting to subscribers, thanks, guys. But
but they're watching your channel, right? That's what
right.
matters.
They're watching it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I will tell you. I mean, if I said Florida, of course, there's two things we always equate with Florida, right? Big bass, Okeechobee. That's two things that we automatically, if you're a bass fisherman or a freshwater fisherman. But the next thing in my mind is peacock bass, right? So, if you can get on the peacocks and put some videos out there like that, man, it's gonna make your channel blow up, no doubt.
And when I saw that, Shane, and I saw that just like how much I don't know if I should even put that comment up, Joe. I'll put your next one up, not the one in front of that. But when I saw that, I went back and looked at all my other peacock bass videos. And I've noticed an uptick in all of them as we come closer to the summertime, where people are going to be taking vacation and traveling down here.
Yeah.
So, and I remember a while ago when the community tab first opened up for me, before it was open to everybody, where you had to have 500 subscribers to get it. And one of the things I posted was like, what content would you guys like to see more? And I put peacock bass fishing, largemouth bass fishing, crappie fishing, and lives. And peacock bass fishing destroyed everything else.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And lives actually were the least. So, but we're here. So I don't know.
Yeah. Peacocks are fun to catch. I am fortunate enough to travel to Panama several times and been on the lakes down there and just tore them up. And
oh, I bet that's awesome down there.
It is. I can show you pictures of hundreds. We brought coolers back.
Wow.
Hundreds of 2 and 3, and we kept 6 and 7 pound peacocks. It was amazing. But that's South America, right, or Central America.
Yeah.
It's growing in Florida, right? It's good in Florida, but
it is
not that great. But
yeah, you look at the PB peacock that was caught, and I think, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I can't remember if it was 9 or 12 pounds. I can't remember which one it was. I don't know why those two numbers are stuck in my head, but I can't remember if it was 9 or 12 pounds, which was the biggest peacock bass caught. And the guy caught it on a live shiner. Unfortunately, it died because it was, I think it was gut hooked, but I'm not sure. But the guy mounted it anyway, and he harvested it, like he did the right thing. Down here, like, unlike Panama, where you were fishing, Shane, you catch a 4 or 5 pound peacock bass, that's a stud.
Yeah.
That's like that's your trophy catch. That's an 8 pound. That's
Absolutely.
an 8 pound largemouth.
Yeah.
You catch a 9-10 pounder. That's like,
Yeah. But it won't be long. It won't be long in that warm water down there before you start seeing 6, 7, 8 pound peacocks becoming more common. I
hope so.
They're fun. They are a fun. If I had them in Virginia, I would target them.
And I target them every time I go out. And what's really cool is, we were talking about Lake Ida just a minute ago, about like us getting together and doing the Lake Ida thing. Hold on, Rob. Yeah, Rob. Yeah, down in Miami, because they were originally introduced into our ecosystem by the FWC back in the 80s. And they were originally introduced down in Homestead. That's where the trucks came in, and they dumped the fish down in Homestead to control like the tilapia, the invasive other cichlid, because the peacock bass is technically a cichlid. It's not really a bass; it's a cichlid. To control that population, and they introduced two two types of peacock bass. I forget what the other one was called, but the butterfly peacock is the one that survived.
Right.
The butterfly peacock is the one that survived down here in South Florida, and they've thrived. Down south, like when you Lake Ida and that Lake Ida Osborne chain, which is the southern end of Palm Beach County, are notorious for holding a lot, and they do, because Lake Ida is the second biggest lake in the state of Florida in the south here, next to Okeechobee.
Okay.
And they're all over down there. But you get into the canals and everything else like that down in Miami-Dade, they're all over. Mm-hmm. They're thick, And one of the things about fishing Lake Ida and Lake Osborne is there's a ton of guides out there, a ton, and like, good for them. They're making money off this stuff. You've got guys that come from all over, but they're shiner fishing them. An aggressive peacock will hit a bear hook. They will.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They will all day. If you find a peacock on a bed, you can sit there and jig a bear hook at them and piss them off enough. Yeah. They'll nail it.
Yeah.
But you dangle a live shiner in front of them and jig it, they're on it.
Yeah.
And that's what all these guys are doing on Lake Ida, is they're fishing the shiners. Now, me personally, nothing against shiner fishing at all. Nothing against shiner fishing, but I just find it more fulfilling, I guess you could say, and more exhilarating if I can trick one into biting or piss one off enough.
Yeah, it's a challenge, Doc,
to bite the lure.
Yeah, right. It's a challenge. They're more of a challenge.
Yes,
right. Because A, they're not as they don't have as much population in the water, and B, you've got to be a little crafty about how you present a lure, etc., to get them to bite. So
yeah,
I totally understand it. Yeah,
but I think what's up, Buck? I'm glad you're here. Hold on, I got to do something. I got to do something for Buck. I know Buck loves this. That's just an inside joke between Buck and John and I. You like that, Buck? He'll get it. I may get a text here in a minute, Shane.
Yeah, I do feel safer with Buck in the chat because he's got big guns.
Yes,
big guns. It's like,
that's cool, Matt. About to get fly fishing, and there's a lot of guys down here that do the that fly fish for the peacocks, and that's something that I'm really thinking about trying, because fly fishing is something I've never done, and I'd love to do it. But to hook like a pissed off peacock bass on a fly, whoo,
it'd be fun.
You watch these shows, and I don't know, down here, Shane, on Sunday night on one of the TV channels that we get from 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock, there's nothing but fishing shows on. And it's usually saltwater fishing. Every now and again, they'll throw in a little bit of bass fishing on some of them, and they're South Florida based, like Flats Class TV with C.A. Richardson, Real Animals with Captain Mike Anderson, shows like that. But it's fun to watch, and every now and again they bass fish. But there's a show that's on there called Silver Kings, and they're out of Key West, Marathon area down in the Keys.
Yeah.
And Captain Jared Roscoe is the one who hosts the show, and these guys are catching these ridiculously huge tarpon on fly rods, and that's got to be just ridiculous.
Yeah. Tarpon on just standard terminal tackle
is crazy.
Phenomenal. It's crazy. On a fly rod, that would be the pinnacle right there.
Yeah.
To bring one in on that. Yeah. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I mean, like doing the fly rod stuff. I've seen videos and stuff of guys doing the flies with the peacocks and just watching them hit it and just like. But it makes sense though. It does. It really does, because I'll tell you what. One of the things that I've noticed with peacock bass is if you're throwing, say, like, let's say you're throwing like the Banger 110. You're throwing a bigger style jerk bait or something like that, and they're just not hitting it. I find that if you downsize and go smaller, they'll be more apt to hit it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, that was my thinking when I did this last video with Hank's Jigs. Is I knew the area that I was fishing. I'd been down there a couple of times a few months ago and hadn't noticed a lot of big peacocks, but I've seen a lot of smaller ones, and they just haven't been as active over in that area. So I said, let me try one of the smaller style jigs. And sure enough, I found them. They were sitting on a bed, and wait till you see the video. I mean, it worked out great. But
Yep.
like downsizing, what's up, other Rob? And I don't mean to call you other Rob, but we got the other Rob in here. There's two Robs. I hope nobody's confused. This is Lucky Dad Rob from Ohio that went out with John and Lindia. Not Rob, that Shiner guy.
Yeah, gotcha.
But yeah, I found that downsizing for the peacocks, if I'm seeing them and not getting the bite on the normal size lure that I'll normally use, like a slimmer swimmer that's a little bit bigger, or even the Banger 110, a bigger style jerk bait.
Yeah.
I'll downsize and I'll be able to get them to bite.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that technique works on different, bass. It works on, whatever species you're going after. But on the fly, when you get to fly fishing, the fish can be so finicky. Just a quarter of an inch can make a difference.
Yeah.
Or where it sets in the water table before they'll hit it. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I really want, you guys know my father-in-law passed away, and he did have a fly rod, so I have access to the fly rod, and I've been kind of like staring at it, like I want to try it.
Yeah,
I want to try it, but then again, I haven't had time to go out and try it. So that might be a summer thing I would probably do.
I caution you, Doc. Be careful, and what I say be careful with is if you get hooked on fly fishing, and I got hooked on fly fishing when I lived in Alaska for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I probably spent, and I'm just maybe exaggerating a little, probably $10,000 on fly rods, fly line, tying flies. It can get very addictive because it's such a different type of fishing, and it's challenging and it's fun. But just be careful.
Yeah, and I've heard that, Shane, and that's kind of like, I already spent enough money on this stuff anyway. It's like,
Yeah.
And I've heard that it's like, do I want to spend more? Like,
yes. The easy answer is yes, but the wife answer is no.
No. Yeah, and I'm actually, another thing I'm thinking about working on over the summer is I know I don't have a lot of time for my YouTube channel as it is, but I've been toying with the notion of actually starting another channel.
Okay.
Completely unrelated to fishing. Just noticing kind of like some of the stuff my students have been going through the last few years, and just noticing like their habits. I think I want to start like a channel dedicated to understanding editing, because we teach Premiere Pro and After Effects and Photoshop. We teach the Adobe Suite, so I'm really thinking about kind of like starting something like that.
Yeah.
To discuss, editing, to teach about, editing with Premiere, editing with Photoshop, going over basics, going over intermediate stuff, then going over advanced stuff. I mean, because I don't know, like a lot of the tools that they give us as teachers to teach this stuff, they're good. Don't get me wrong. They're very good. But I have found just over the years, and I'm going into my 13th year of teaching now and doing this, I'm finding that no matter what tools I give them, or what tools are given to me that I then pass on to the kids, when I sit down and I do my own thing with them, the results that I get from them are 10 times better.
Okay.
Like I can sit there and I can send them. I'm like, okay, guys. Like, for example, they give us a site called Brain Buffet, which is teaching them some editing stuff, and it tailors itself to the Adobe Certified Professional test, which is what we test the kids in. Every kid that goes through my program, the goal is to get them Adobe certified in After Effects and Premiere Pro and Photoshop, and they become an Adobe certified video professional by the time they graduate. So they're career ready. They could literally walk into any television station, any film production studio, and they are ready for an entry level job, right?
Sure.
So, all right, Joe. Joe, hit me up. Let me know if Sunday works for you. I'll be down there either way. But I find if I just kind of put them on that and I assign it and they just watch the videos and they go through it, they don't really get it. But if I do my thing with them that tailors to that particular lesson, like let's say they got to learn how to chroma key and like get rid of the green screen or whatever, I'll have a couple of kids that are self-motivated. They'll get it. They'll get it. They'll be fine. And then I'll have a bunch of kids that are just like, I find that when I go through and I do my own thing that I've kind of like thought up in my head and that I create and that I walk them through in class, like, here's the video I made. All right, let's talk about it. I find that they get it more. And I see more success out of that. So I was actually thinking about, because I've always wanted to do one for my classes. And I said, well, you know what? I might as well just create the YouTube channel for it. And then instead of like making this thing that I got to like constantly upload to a Google Classroom, I can just direct the kids to a YouTube channel and it's always there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it helps your lesson plan and your curriculum,
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
In my opinion, what's up, Creel? Okay, I'm going to be biased on this because I've been using Adobe for so long, but user-friendly, I would say Adobe Premiere Pro if you can afford it. And unfortunately, a couple years back, Adobe went to the whole pay a month thing.
Yeah.
User-friendly if you're starting out, I would probably say something like, like Filmora or even iMovie. There's enough information out there on the internet that can easily get you going, and those are free things. DaVinci Resolve is great. DaVinci Resolve is the closest thing to Premiere Pro that you can get for free. And there's a lot of stuff you can do with DaVinci Resolve that's very close to like combining After Effects and Premiere Pro, and it's for free. But user-friendly things like Filmora, Power Editor, iMovie. Those are going to be like your user friendly beginning editor type of softwares um, that anybody could pick up. And literally, like if you went out, if you were starting a fishing YouTube channel and you had a GoPro and you went out and caught footage and you needed to quick edit something together to get it up there, those are probably going to be your three best things to use, and be able to get it up, because there's enough out there on YouTube on those, and it is very pretty. I mean, you can, if you have any sense of how to work in editing software, you can fumble around and figure it out on those.
Yeah, yeah. I use Filmora Pro. I have the Wondershare paid version now, but I started on the Filmora. And you're right, Ted. They charge for everything, but
and I have a feeling, Shane, everybody's going that way.
Yeah, yeah. It's very simple for me now. I've been using it for 2 years. Matter of fact, tomorrow is my 2-year anniversary on my YouTube channel.
Oh, so, yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's I was looking at the numbers today, and I was like, whew, 2 years. It's crazy. It seems like yesterday, but once you get in line with one type of editing tool, you tend to go with that unless it just dies out, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I remember talking to what's his name in Cranking and Yanking?
James.
I was talking to James. He's like, I've been using this editing tool for years and years. I know it. I know it inside and out. I'm not going to change. And he's a master at it, right? But, there's so many out there. But unfortunately, like Ted said, they're all charging.
And eventually they're all going to go that way.
Yeah.
What's up, Jay? Eventually they're all going to go that way. Like, I mean, Adobe kind of pioneered that. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like when it, after CS6 and they got rid of the disk and they went to the cloud thing, I mean, you still got Final Cut, okay? And I know a lot of I started out on Final Cut.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I started out editing on, was Final Cut, because when you get into the industry, coming out of college and everything, I mean, we were working on all Macs. I mean, for me, when I got out of college and got into the industry, I was working in Pro Tools. Okay, that was for audio. Pro Tools was for audio, and that was the be all end all. And then you were on Final Cut because you were on Macs, and that's what all the stations had. That's what all the studios had. That was it.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned on. And then Adobe kind of came around. Like, you still did Pro Tools for audio, but when Adobe came around after CS6 and really started to kind of ramp up the video editing thing and really started to kind of go all in on it, they really started to challenge Final Cut, and Final Cut kind of screwed the pooch a little bit.
Yeah.
When Adobe was making that transition to the cloud stuff, and Final Cut came out with their update for Final Cut X. And they tried to make it so user-friendly, like basic, but advanced, that they totally missed both markets. Again, like we were talking about earlier, going back to totally missing your target demographic with your product. They screwed the pooch, and like Adobe they skyrocketed. Right. And then Final Cut finally came back and hit the reset button, so to speak, and came out. Now, Final Cut, I'll tell you what, Final Cut is awesome. I mean, like, it's great. Not the only reason I use Adobe, but the reason I use Adobe is because I'm used to it and because I teach it every single day.
Right.
And, I've gotten used to it, and, I'm an Adobe certified professional. I'm Adobe ACE and ACE certified. I'm Adobe certified educator. I've spent so much time in Adobe with Premiere and After Effects and Photoshop and Illustrator and all those things that's what I use all the time.
Right.
But when it comes to, the stuff that is available to first-time content creators, it doesn't matter what you're using. The editing techniques are always going to be the same. It's just like Adobe will call it, the source monitor, while Final Cut may call it the preview monitor. It's the same damn thing. They're just calling it different things. And there's little nuances to each one, but the editing is all the same no matter what you're using. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you need, Steve? Teach you what? Editing? No, listen, I watch a lot of videos, and Shane, I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I do.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched any in a little while. It's been about a month and a half before I've been able to binge YouTube. But like watching things, one of the things, Steve, I would gladly teach you Adobe. Gladly. Just let me know. Hit me up on here, on Instagram, whatever you need to know, man. I'm here to help you. But one of the things I see, and one of the things we teach, and one of the things that was taught to me going through school was, trim the fluff, and edit on action. And I honestly think a lot of channels that are starting could benefit from that. Could benefit from trimming the fluff and editing on the action if you're using two cameras. I know a lot of channels, when they're trying to use two different angles, you edit on the action, you match the cuts, and then you try and trim out a lot of the fluff, so to speak. Like, and I don't know about you, Shane, but I've gone back to some of my videos, and even after I upload them, I go back to them. And even after sitting there, I go back to them, and I'm like, I could have taken that part out. That didn't need to be.
I do the same. Dead time and, pause in the action. You try to trim your videos down as much as possible.
Yeah. And Matt brings up a great thing about jump cuts. Jump cuts work, and YouTube has made jump cuts so popular as a profession in the television and film industry. Jump cuts are the devil. They are like, you don't do jump cuts. Like, if you're doing a news package, you're doing a news story, a feature story, you're making a feature film or a short film, whatever it may be, there better not be a jump cut, because that just shows amateurism, period, point blank.
I got to ask, what do you consider a jump cut?
So a jump cut would be basically, it's one camera angle, right? Mm-hmm. And like, let's say you've got like a camera angle of me right now, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden there's a cut in the video, and all of a sudden I'm over here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a jump cut.
Okay, all right.
But with YouTube, and the way that like a lot of content creators have done with YouTube, and you see it all the time, is the YouTube creators have now gone to this thing to where like jump cuts have become acceptable, but they're doing it in a way where it makes it look like it's not a jump cut.
Gotcha.
What they're doing is, when they do a jump cut, they're like zooming in, and then they'll zoom back. And I'm sure you guys have seen this, and I could show you examples of it on my channel that I've used, that I've done, where like it's like, hey guys, and then all of a sudden I'm here, and then all of a sudden I'm back.
Right.
That's creating a jump cut because I didn't have another camera angle to cut to, but I needed to make a cut, and I didn't have any supplemental footage or B-roll to throw over it.
Yeah, or no transition you could put
correct
in between. Right. Yeah.
Right. So, that's another thing that I always teach in my classes is the jump cuts, but with our type of content, I'll throw in jump cuts all the time because it allows for it. Like if that's, I don't know if you guys feel the same way as I do, but like, I don't need to sit there and watch me struggle to try and get the hook out of the damn fish's mouth.
Yeah.
Like, we all know what the end outcome is going to be. We know that that hook is coming out of that fish's mouth. So why do I need to show it? If I can't get it out in the first like second, like I lip the bass and it's out, and then I'm showing the bass to the camera, I'll jump cut. I'll make a jump cut, but I'll find a way to make the jump cut work
Makes sense.
as best I can.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess I'm guilty of jump cuts because I do the same thing. Like if I catch a big enough fish that I want to weigh, or I don't sit there and fiddle around. It may go from me netting it and starting to take the hook out to me weighing it. Right. So I'm guilty of that, but I try to put a transition, some type of, a fade or movement into it to get to that.
Right. And in any kind of transition, if you're using like a cross dissolve or anything like that, a transition shows what a transition is supposed to be. It's supposed to denote a change in time. That's what a transition is.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah. Okay.
So, if you do a cross dissolve in that type of situation, theoretically in the film industry and in the video industry, that works because you are transitioning in time.
Okay.
It's when you're going from like a jump cut when you don't want to use it is what's like the same action. Like if I'm sitting here drinking and then all of a sudden like I cut and I'm still drinking, well, that doesn't make any sense.
But you're doing this versus this, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That doesn't make any sense. If I'm drinking and then I transition in time to where then I have it up here and I'm showing a drop coming out of the bottle like it's done, then that makes sense because time has passed.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and that's just some of the things I see, and that's some of the things that I always struggle with, and I try to kind of keep in my brain when I'm out filming, when I'm fishing, is, okay, I'll know immediately, like, all right, I'm going to have to get the pliers out on this fish. So how should I film this in order to make my cut later, in order for it to make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why I'll pay attention to, okay, do I have the fish? When I made that decision, I have to think, all right, before I got the pliers, was the fish in my left hand or was it in my right hand? Okay. All right. Well, it was in my left hand and I grabbed the pliers with my right. So when I make the jump cut, if I do a jump cut, I'll then start off camera after I get it out and I'll kind of like in my head. And as I'm editing, I know I'll go 3, 2, 1, and then I'll bring the fish up to create some motion there.
Yeah.
And when I know I got to use the pliers, what I'll do is I will take the pliers and I'll come in and I'll actually go down with the fish out of the frame. I'll go down, and then I'll do my thing. And after I get it unhooked, then I come up. So when I make my jump cut edit, I'm moving down with the fish, and then when I make my jump cut edit, I'm then coming up. So visually, it makes sense. It's going down, then up.
Yeah, that makes
Does it
sense.
happen every time? No, because sometimes you get excited as hell. You got like an 8 pound, an 8 pounder or like a 6 pounder, and you're like, oh my god, and like, yeah. Then at that point, who cares? You caught a huge fish. But if it's just like a normal, like peacock bass or whatever, I try to kind of keep that stuff in mind while I'm filming.
Yeah, Ted said something there. Sometimes it's when you're editing, we get excited a little bit. I know I do. I like to take a breath, like if I catch a big bass or something. I take a breath. I'll actually put the bass in a net, let it stew in the water a little bit, and think about how do I want to take 30 seconds to present the fish, what you want to do, because you've already caught it, you've already netted it. But how do you want to release it? How do you want to talk about it? It's worth taking a minute, 30 seconds to think about how you want to do that.
Yep. And I just want what Kyle's saying boils down to watch retention. Famous YouTubers such as Casey Neistat and Mr. Beast found that if they do a jump or a camera angle change every 4 to 5 seconds, they get better watch time. That is something that we teach all the time. in the industry, and that's something that I make my students do. It's an actual assignment I give them, because our eyes are trained, or well, not trained, but we are used to changing visuals every 3 to 5 seconds. We never consistently look at one thing, like otherwise it's considered staring.
Right.
And if you watch any television show, any movie, any Netflix series or whatever, and you guys do this, this is exactly what I tell my students. Do this tonight when you watch whatever you watch, or watch whatever you watch tomorrow. In your head, count when they change camera angles or when they make a cut. And I guarantee you it's always between 3 and 5 seconds.
Yep.
Of every major blockbuster film you've ever watched, every TV show you've ever watched, any famous YouTuber you ever watch, they're changing those angles and they're making cuts, or they're changing the visuals every 3 to 5 seconds, because it keeps your eyes visually interested, because we're never sitting there just staring at one thing the entire time.
Very good point. Yeah, no doubt. Well, hey, Doc, I've got to jump out. I have a bass tournament at 4 a.m. I got to get up for. So
nice. Where you going?
So it's the first tournament on the lake by my house called Lake Mooney. I joined the local bass club here. It's I'll just say it this way: a lot of smack talk, like, Shane, you need to be at the dock, an hour prior. We can have autographs signed and all that bullshit because I'm a YouTuber, right? But it's right here, about 20 minutes from my house, Lake Mooney. It's going to be have about 40 boats on it, so should be a blast.
That's awesome, dude. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you know what? Since you're going to get out of here, I am too, because I just noticed the time. I was kind of planning on kind of jumping out around 9, and I didn't realize we're almost at 9:30. We've got to get up at. Well, I'm going to get up at 5. I think my wife's got to get up at 4:30, because she's got to get herself ready and then start doing the hair on the oldest one, because, ladies and gentlemen, it is the last dance competition of the season this weekend.
Good stuff.
The last one, yeah. We're gonna be down where the Panthers play in Sunrise, but yeah, we got to go down there tomorrow morning, and we got to go down there Sunday morning. Sunday morning, I'm hoping to meet Joe from Parabellum Fishing, because right where she's dancing at, there's a good little fishing spot I found the last year when we were down there. So, awesome. Yeah, I think if you're gonna get out of here, Shane, I think I'll end it as well. I wish you good luck tomorrow, man. I hope you, if they're talking smack, smack them back.
Absolutely. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, good luck, man. Yeah, let me know how it goes.
Will do. Hey, good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming in. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Get out and do some fishing, and we'll see you guys next week.